Hello, class. Happy Monday. Um, let's see. Thank you for those of you that have turned in your week two assignments. I thought there were a lot of good submissions. A lot of people put some effort into this, and so I appreciate those of you that did. Hopefully, you found it beneficial, helpful to kind of talk through your business. I know that in my business, the more I talk about it, the more I refine it, the more I tweak, kind of the better things get. It's really hard the first time just to spit out, what your business is. So honestly, if you can just continue to talk about it more and more and more, and continue to refine how you um, view your business, and really maybe even less so of how you view it, how others interpret it, is maybe even the better way to think about it. So really encourage you to keep up with this practice that you've already started. Okay, so for today, first I want to review a couple of um, uh, the submissions. I thought I picked out three interesting ones, two that are a little bit similar but different, and then one that's kind of maybe often, I don't know if often left field, but it's a good submission, but it's different than the other two. And then what we're going to talk about is going into our week three assignment, which is really customer profile and really thinking about our user journey and how we capture customers, and really being as customer centric and as customer focused as possible. Okay, so that's what we're going to go through. So without further ado, I will pop into the first. So I'm going to show you two. I'm going to show you two recordings from fellow classmates, and then we'll go from there on comments. So here's the first, and I need to play it. Hold on. All right, there we go. So let's take a look.
Hey, are you bored of your space? Tired because your bedroom, house, or even office is unpersonalized and has little to no decor? Your space is a representation of you, so give your space a story. My name's Theodora, and I got plenty of things to make your space interesting. I've got colored pencil drawings, marker drawings, graphite, charcoal that we could make into any size. There's even small scale watercolor paintings that could be bought as originals or made fine art prints at whatever size of your choosing. Even some large scale oil paintings, or even medium sized acrylic paintings. I've even got some limited edition sculptures, although some of those might not fit in your bedroom.
All right, so that's the first one. And let's share here our second one, which is Nocturno.
In the stillness of the night, when the world retreats into solitude, some seek an exceptional presence. Introducing Nocturno, the fine blend designed for those who relish the mystical hours. Crafted with precision, our selection of cocktails exudes sophistication and complexity, appealing to the most discerning palates. Imagine savoring depths of robust flavors perfected to elevate your late night rituals. Whether embracing the Gothic aesthetic or indulging in silent reflection, Nocturno is your ally. Perfect your night, experience the epitome of crafted excellence. Discover Nocturno and elevate your evening gatherings with unmatched elegance. Connect with the night, embrace Nocturno.
Okay, so those are the two that I selected for that are kind of similar, let's say. So here's just a couple of notes. So on out of the two of those, personally, my preference was the first one. What I thought was interesting was, so I thought these were very similar. I thought they both had pretty strong messages. I thought, like, I understood what the business was. I could connect with it. So actually, I think both of them did a good job. The one reason that I connected personally with the first one versus the second one was it was quite obvious that the second one to me was created with some AI tool set, which I instructed the class to use. So maybe you get what you ask for. What I found intriguing about the first one was just because of the way that it's made, and really, it really connected with kind of like the physical presence that these are physical items. Theodore's selling, clearly like art pieces, right? And so there is like a physicality to it. So I think there was something really powerful in having this, video be like just a recording kind of cut, not no digital, um, uh, tool use to basically pull this thing together, other than obviously using a phone and maybe some cuts and stuff like that, but really like limited amount of digital intervention versus the other one. I think the message was there. Like, I actually liked the style. I thought the music was pretty good. I got a little some of the descriptions felt a little forced or manufactured to me, but not too bad. But there was this kind of like slick AI, type feel, especially with the person, speaking to me. It was clear that that wasn't, a live, real person, or at least that was my perception. So I do think there's something a little bit that's lost in AI, and maybe the encouragement might just to be to like be careful. We want to use these things maybe sparingly, or figure out how to use them to their most benefit, instead of kind of just going AI crazy. Again, there's nothing wrong with either one of these. These are we're trying to make some tweaks here versus burning down the farm. So nice job on both those. I just thought they were an interesting side by side comparison that we could maybe take something away. So I've got one more, and I can't really remember why I selected this one, other than I liked it. So there may not be anything other than that. But let me share this one, and we will take a look here.
I hate going to the gym. I hate the lights.
I really hate the gym now.
Haters, are you bitch jealous? Fuck yeah. Been knew I was that.
Back in the day, we was hopping in whips and riding stolen. I fucking hate people that are in the gym sitting on their phone.
Woo, that'll do it.
Okay, hold on. Sounds familiar, right? Going to the gym doesn't have to be miserable anymore. Why does it have to feel like a battlefield of anxiety, pressure, and that all too familiar gym stink that makes you want to run straight back home? Walking out of your average gym feels like a relief.
Okay.
Because you survived
This
it.
is
But what if walking in felt like a breath?
This is 2 minutes and 40 seconds, so I don't think I'm going to play the whole thing. But okay, so what's the takeaway here? Like, what I found was really interesting is them presenting the problem was all these people, yelling about the gym. Apologies for the swearing, that wasn't me. But I felt like that was a very real way to present, a problem, then cut into kind of what your solution is. I think this is a really interesting approach to telling your story. I think maybe my critique here is the fact that this video is 2 minutes and 40 seconds. With this style of storytelling, I feel like that wants to tighten up considerably. And when I say tighten up, I mean shorten. But I think as far as the method of storytelling, like this thing, I think nailed it. And I think this is really cool. You're taking other people's, video bits. It's not even you're not even telling the story anymore. You're using other people's message to tell the story for you. So I think that's really awesome. Really, job well done there. Okay. So let me take this one down. All right. So let's get into what we're going to be talking about for today's, for this week's assignment. Let me pull up our assignment here. So for assignment today, we are going to define our customer, and our deliverable is a persona profile slide. So we're talking about customer personas here, and then a customer journey map. So these are really two slides. You could combine them into one depending on maybe how you format this thing. Just the one thing to be careful about is, right, we want these slides to be easily readable. So if we're finding ourselves cramming too much information, split them up into two versus try to make it short as one. But so again, talking about our customer profile or our customer persona, and then a customer journey. So we're going to be really customer focused here. And one of the things that what our customer persona is really a detailed look, a detailed view of who our ideal customer is. So if we think about our customer curve, we basically, if you know what a normal distribution is, the majority of our customers kind of clump in the middle and kind of quote unquote look very similar. They have similar traits, similar buying habits, those types of things. And then as we stray out further from that center, they get different, right? So maybe 80% of our customers bundle into some sort of core, and then the remaining 20% kind of are ever more different from that core. So what we want to do with our persona is really identify the direct center. So we want to, in some ways, fabricate this idealized person. Who is the perfect person that would buy our product? And then dig into, like, who are they? What do they like to do? What's their job? What's their state in life? How do they have fun? How do they spend their money? A lot of the times you want to assign them a name. That way you can refer to, hey, Jim would do this. So we assign a name to them. You'll get a photo of who does that person look like. And that could be, you can AI generate what does the perfect person look like that is perfect for this product? And we slam that in. And that creates a way for us to discuss who is this perfect person that we believe would buy our product. So I'm going to jump into this first video. So on our videos here, we've got how to create a buyer persona and then how to create a user persona, basically the same thing. This one says free template. So if you go to this video and scroll down, it's a HubSpot link that'll actually take you to this page. And if I zoom in here, you can get a little bit of an idea of what these things look like. So like I said, they've got a person's name here. They've got quotes about their goals and challenges. They've got some identifiers. How do they communicate? What social media do they use? What kind of marketing message, resonates with them? Their goals and challenges. There's a picture, right? Same thing kind of here. Very similar type of information. Okay, so these are the types of things we want to put down. We want to be very specific. So if you see this, they've got all this kind of demographic information on the left, personality information, goals. On the right, we want to put a lot of information to really identify this specific person. We want to be thinking about a individual. If a perfect individual existed in the world, what would they look like? And that's what we're trying to describe on one sheet. All right. So this is the sheet that we're going to use. You can download it here for free. This is a great tool to start using. So let's jump into these two videos. And then I'll talk about the customer user journey at the end. All right.
Why don't marketers regularly talk to their customers? Is it because they might stink real bad? No, I mean, we know that it's pretty hard to connect to the people that we're marketing to, which is why before you start selling to anyone, you really need to know who exactly you're talking to. Otherwise, this whole game ain't gonna work out for you. Buyer personas are a super valuable tool for attracting high value visitors, leads, and customers to your business. In fact,
so I think the important thing about knowing who you're talking to and knowing who your customer is, or knowing in some respect who you want your customer to be, is not everybody's going to buy your product. And so, if you're talking to the wrong people, I guess two things are true. One, you want to try to talk to as few of the wrong people as possible, which would mean, being directed and putting your message in a place where the quote unquote right people will see your message. And the other thing is like, we don't really care about if the wrong people are seeing our message. Those are not the people that are likely buyers. So it's fine if our message doesn't resonate with them. We want it to resonate with the people that are likely to buy our product or service.
Companies that use buyer personas in their marketing strategy have increased website traffic by 210%, increased email conversion by up to 10%, and boosted organic search traffic by 55%. It's a lot of percentages. So personas can drastically impact your marketing efforts. But let's start with the basics. What is a buyer persona? Put simply, it's a semi-fictional representation of what your audience looks like, with all of their key details combined into one avatar or persona. Kind of looks like this. So while creating quality leads and engagement is challenging, personas are a useful way to help marketers get honest about who we're talking to. They put you in the customer's shoes to understand their challenges, pain points, and needs. Knowing who you're talking to can guide your messaging, inform relevant content, and underpin truly compelling campaigns. And it's not just marketing who benefits.
And it makes it easier to know who you're talking about. You know, if we've got multiple people working on a project, it just solidifies who are we trying to go after, and that way we can talk to kind of a goal versus just being really heady and being very generalized.
Having an authentic picture of the people who buy from you helps customer service behave more empathetically by anticipating issues faster. Personas help sales connect with the people who are most likely to buy from them, saving time that would otherwise be wasted on less than ideal prospects. Your product team needs to know as much as possible about who they're building for. Giving them really crispy persona profiles will help them tailor whatever you're selling to hit that customer sweet spot. So how can you build an accurate picture of an ideal persona? First, you need to figure out how many personas you actually need. If you're a smaller business or part of a small marketing team, it's best to start.
We're going with one. We're going with one. One to start.
Small. We recommend just 1 or 2. Keeping your personas tight means you can make them as rich as possible. And I don't mean handing them the bag. No, I mean having as much detail as possible, and that way it's easier to get internal agreement about what those persona characteristics might be. Let's talk about how you can build a super crispy persona profile. There are 3 keys to creating useful and authentic persona profiles. Research, research, and research. Easy to remember, right? There's a few different levers you can pull to fill out your persona profiles. The first is internal research. A great way to build a customer persona is by talking to the people who are already talking to your customers.
Another great way is to use ChatGPT or another AI tool to help you build this. So, feeding in a very detailed, some very detailed information into a prompt around what your product is, who you're trying to connect, and asking it to spit back out some information, and then refining that. That's also a very good way to do this.
Reach out to your sales or customer success teams. They'll have tons of ideas and insight about your customers. Some of the questions you can ask are, what kinds of content are people engaging with most on our website? What's the most common query we get from customers? What are their most common pain points? What are the most common objections the sales teams hears? On top of this, you can leave feedback forms. Just remember to keep them short to have the best chance of completion. Only ask the most pressing questions. Giving people agency to influence their experiences with your brand in exchange for feedback is more than a fair trade, and most customers know that. You can also add incentives, offer discounts or early access to customers who give you feedback. Another way is market research. This is about finding where your prospects hang out, where, how, and why they buy. If you're running Google Analytics, you can find out how customers are engaging with similar businesses. You can look up market leaders and see key demographics around their audiences, including average age, gender, and interests. Google Analytics Market Explorer also shows you the ways these people connect with similar brands, including paid, organic, referral, or direct. Seeing how other brands in your space engage audiences is a really valuable way to build a picture of consumers' behavior. If it's true for enough of your competitors, it's likely true for you. And once you have that information, you can use social media to research people on Facebook and LinkedIn by title, industry, location, interests, etc. All of these methods will help you gradually build up your understanding of how buyers interact with your part of the world. And if you can ask your happiest customers and biggest advocates really nicely, you may even get some customer interviews. Getting FaceTime with your customers is like getting picked first in kickball. Doesn't happen often, but when it does, you're feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Holding interviews, one-on-ones, or group discussions are all great ways to get candid feedback. Feedback that rarely shows up in its entirety on a feedback form or survey. Here are a few tips to get the most out of your customer interviews. Who, what, why, and how. Who? What's your occupation and your experience like? How do you prefer sales to approach you? What do you need to get clear on before you decide to buy? What? What are your goals? What are the things keeping you from achieving those goals? Why? This one is about your business and brand. Find out why the customer chose you. Why did they find your brand attractive? What do you do that the competition doesn't do or doesn't do as well? And finally, how? How does your product or service solve their problems? If you can get honest answers to these questions from your clients, that'll add so much value to your personas. You've got the info, now you need a visual aid to put it all together. Give your personas names, make them feel as real as possible. This does a couple things. It makes it easy for other teams to share and digest. It's a single source of truth that everyone in the business can agree on and refer back to. So for example, when your salesperson picks up the phone, they've got a clear image of the kind of person they're going to be talking to. But keep in mind, once you've developed your buyer personas, you need to keep them up to date. We recommend reviewing them every year so you know they're still relevant. Don't have a template on hand? Well, no sweat. You can download our free buyer persona template.
All right, so going to the template and use the template. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty succinct view of kind of what we're doing. Like I said, it's useful for when we're talking to a group, when we're trying to communicate. If we have two buyer personas and we've got Tim and Phil, and we want to talk about Tim, it makes it easier to say, hey, we're talking about Tim, versus hey, we're talking about Phil, and these are two different things, and everybody can flip over to the new one when we're talking about a different persona. So again, we're just doing one right now, but hopefully you can understand how the tool can be used to help focus our message, depending on who we're talking to. All right, so let's do this second one. I think this is going to be a lot of the same content, so I might skip forward here a little bit, but let's get started on this one.
Hi, I'm Cicely Rose, a student advisor here at Career Foundry. Today I'm going to talk you through a very important part of the design process, user personas. First, I'll explain exactly what a user persona is. Then we'll look at why